one of my favorite things to do is to give back, to teach. I won't be doing this forever, so hey, I want to contribute to moving things forward. So when anyone does ask me for help at the gym, I'm like, yo, let's do this. So that first set you saw was Tristan's activation set. We're doing myo reps. So he needed an express quad dominant lower body day. So I was like, yo, I gotcha. And boy, he put in work. So that first one was like you saw the last few reps of the set of 15. After that, we were doing clusters in the 4 to 6 rep range. And I was like, bro, don't go. I know I said 6, but don't go for 6. Give yourself a little space to work with, because you can't speak for yourself on that last cluster. So myo reps, if you're not familiar, has been a theme, something I have used quite frequently throughout this whole off season. So just Google myo reps, super self-explanatory. Right away you'll be like, gotcha. So we're just extending the life of that first set. So hey, dude put in work, and we're going deep, but he wasn't bouncing it off the bottom. A lot of people do that. They're like, yo, check out my ROM, boom. And it's like, so that like mini little pile up you're creating at the bottom, like that's what's jetting you back is it's not the specific muscle groups that you are targeting. So he did a fantastic job of that, not being lazy with it, being disciplined when he was pretty darn cooked. I believe this was his last cluster, and he might have had one more rep, but at the same time, I didn't no, he had one more after this, I believe. I didn't want him like to put himself in a position where it's like, yo, you will not have good training days for another 2 weeks, So again, for me, this is a way for me. That was his last. Oh no, here's the last one. This is it. For me, it's a way to like save me some mileage. In his case, it's a way to kind of save him some time. I loved using this, especially during my prep, where it's like, okay, so do I do like 4 sets of 10 to 15, or just have it suck for like a good 3 to 4 minutes, and then we're done. And when energy's low, I used to take the myo rep option. My boy did good. Proud of you, bro. So my training week, pretty good. Strength is starting to really kick up. So this was, I think, maybe it was 105s. Yeah, it was 105s on the incline. I was pretty happy with this form. Pretty happy with just how patient I have been when it comes to working my strength back up to where it was pre-lockdown. So the jackness is there. I've just been, using pauses, been using slightly higher rep ranges, all for trying to like muffle my strength, the amount of load that I can use. So I've said that over and over, but man, I've been hurt before, just not fun. And more on that later, actually, because we did have one little goof up at some point. But this off season's been clean in regards to I don't think I've had an off season where like through and through I have felt this healthy. So I want to keep it that way. And I think I am ready to like cut it loose a little bit, but nevertheless, while still remembering that, hey, strength is cool, but I'm still like at a place with my training where like priority number 1 is like looking right on stage, and there's many ways to basically get there. Should really cut some of this stuff out. But we have a good time, man. I think that's one thing that I've learned is that just with more training experiences, like I can have fun. Yeah, I'm a little cutthroaty while I'm in there once the set starts, but in between that, it's like, after a while you can just like turn it on like that when it's time to go. And again, that's something that I've seen in like all the best athletes, the ones that I really, really admire, is that it's like they're loose, right? Most of the time, but when it's go time, it's like they find that place right away. So it's been, again, it just makes time pass faster. It makes your training fun, which I think if you're having a good time Yes, a lot of this is strictly business, but I started doing this because it was fun. So sometimes it's like, hey, you have to remind yourself of that, even when the stakes are quite high. Um, Push day. So this was a push day. I think usually by the outfits, you guys can kind of guess which days which. Um, you know what? That left shoulder is higher than that right. We're gonna have to address that. I really had no idea until like right now. Um, we'll see about that. I don't like that because that was the first place where I racked up mileage while doing this. And again, a lot of it was just the fact that um, I had some of the worst like role models in regards to um, my bodybuilding heroes when I first started. I really wanted to connect myself with the blue collar workers because prior to that, I would definitely classify myself as a somewhat lazy athlete. But while trying to address that flaw in myself, I think I um, let myself get away with a little bit too much in regards to mostly form, really learning my basics. And because of that, I have had a few years where, yeah, we spend more time sideline working with scraps as opposed to, yeah, just working in the state I find myself now, which is like healthy and everything's clicking. This is going to be a new one. It's going to replace the CO row for the foreseeable future. Really like the strength curve on this thing. It's been years since I've used it, and again, so you guys are making fun of like, yo, Bert, you so missionary, man. So you switch from two arm to one arm, but you got to, man. You got to. You can't be changing things up all the time. So this one will continue to be a staple. And on this baby here, I'm hitting PRs more often than not. So I do want to get that spreadsheet out to you guys. So here's been the conflict, man. It's been the fact that, so after the lockdown, I'm like, you know what? So all the like neurological stuff, I don't want to work on getting that back. Like I just want to go back and just kind of fill up the spots that might have taken a few steps back. Because I was doing slightly below maintenance levels of volume when we were locked down. And so I was like, I want to get jacked first, and then we'll take care of that bit. Because which one do I want more? The muscle stuff. And I just didn't have the patience. And to be quite honest, I didn't have the time to start because we were limited to 1 hour in the gym. And when you are a strength athlete, it's basically, it's like a lot of other sports, man. It's like you're taking your time, you're getting a lot of reps in. Once you get strong, it's you spend a great deal of time warming up and getting ready for the heavier loads. So I just made a beeline for the muscle growth stuff or the things that are more practical. But I miss my strength so bad, like so bad. So there will be some adjustments, there will be some changes, and we'll go over that shortly here. But the bodybuilding stuff has been going tremendous. I've found myself in the zone when it comes to just like, this is a good example of it is, and it's a skill that I think with time just gets better, is like when you get to those grindy sets and like, yeah, your body's kind of like what the fuck are you doing? Like being able to like stay poised, not change form, still have the tension be focused on the areas, so like no change in technique, because I could have done something to twist and turn. This was my activation set here. This was a myo rep set. I could have done a few things to wiggle around and made it a little bit easier, but I would have been taking away from the muscle groups that I am trying to target. So you won't see it too much here, but on the last cluster, man, we had a bad case of the protein shakes. But again, like you just learn to be very calm. You learn not to panic. You learn to just kind of stay with your technique and just realize that, hey, things are hurting in a good way, good kind of pain. The rep is slowing down, but you stick with it. And like that's something that just comes with time. And it's one of the reasons that I am focused when I'm lifting, but I try not to get like so aroused that There it goes. Yeah, that you kind of deviate from the plan, deviate from your technique. That's just something that comes with time. So, um, oh, these are new. So one of my lateral raise days, we're gonna kind of have that head in a more stretched out position. Some people do this on the incline bench, right? You might have seen like a lot of, especially those golden era dudes used to love this one, but I think on the cable it makes a whole lot more sense. But yeah, it's you know what, like not that it's anywhere near like what the guys that do combat sports go through, but in some ways, um, the more you expose yourself to hard sets, the longer you've been doing this, like it's a great, like with Jeff, he's a fantastic example of this. It's like stuff gets hard, but he's just like cool as the other side of the pillow like the whole freaking time. And you hear combat guys say that, and that's a big part of it, is that, I mean, yeah, they are aroused, but they practice it like so frequently that they kind of learn to stay calm even when they're like getting, I mean, what it's a full-blown freaking fight. So of course this is lifting weights, this is relatively healthy compared to most sports, in fact. But yeah, you learn to get into those grindy positions and just kind of keep your cool the whole time. So again, that's one of the reasons. It's like it's so much more than just like lifting weights. Absolutely. And I mean, there's so many misconceptions about our hobby. I've come to find that that's true about many like little niche hobbies and little other worlds, like whether you do the Comic-Con thing, whatever. Like there's misconceptions about like what it's like to be part of that, what goes on within closed doors. And the same thing can be said about bodybuilding. I think most people are like, oh, just narcissistic meatheads that just blend steak in a blender and simple people. Were not the case, man. Like there's so much more, and you guys know this. But yeah, again, come a long way, man. I was definitely at some point that kid with the metaphorical sideburns, leather jacket, and the switchblade in the gym, and we've kind of learned to tone it down a bit, but not at the cost of focus. You just kind of learn to consolidate that and conserve energy. Something that I do remember from like contest preps, it's like, and this is where it first started to show. It's like I remember the first few contest preps I did do, I would, like day one, just like marching like a soldier, and it's like, let's go, perfect, and then over time you kind of just learn to let it kind of come to you to conserve energy, so that when you do get to those like really, really rough spots, you're fresher than you would have been otherwise. But again, that just comes with time, which is kind of cool. It's like, I'm sure a lot of you guys are just starting out. It's like, I just want to be there, but like, it's kind of cool that you have to earn your stripes. It's kind of cool that it takes a while, and at some point when you guys get there and you guys go through all that bullshit, you guys will be like, yeah, I'm glad that it is that way. So these were again, for the lateral delts, and personally it's one of my best body parts, but I really want to maximize it. So this is where the strength is kind of an issue, man. Like I'm gonna rebuild this thing. I was totally thinking like, you know what, let's just do those Romanian deadlifts with dumbbells and call it a day. But man, it's an adrenaline rush to like lift heavy weights, and I think especially on a barbell. And again, not a power lifter. I'll never be worth a damn in that world. But I don't know, it's part of the iron culture, right? And I like to keep it at respectable levels, I guess. And I miss that. I miss the walking out weights, where just walking it out itself is an adrenaline rush, and every freaking cell in your body is like, put this back right now. I miss that. So I'm going to reconfigure things and just backtrack to what I did to get myself pretty strong on the good morning and on the low bar squat, which I know last week I said we're going to switch over to the high bar squat. But so one of my like lowest moments was 2008, when I hurt my back deadlifting on a day where I shouldn't have been deadlifting. I should have been at home sleeping it out. And basically that gave me 2 of the like worst years of my training life. And anyhow, I've been over that for a while. Everything in my SI joint area and my dealings with sciatic have been done for a minute, but that high bar squat kind of made me feel that way again. So you know what? We have some super quad dominant squat patterns via leg pressing. We're going to go ahead and just keep it low bar and get strong with that thing again and go from there. So this is, again, one of the changes I talked about. 110s, my first day back. The pauses on the first few reps were not really pauses, but that's just because I got kind of excited to start. There's a few things I don't like about my form here. So for example, I like my feet forward a little bit more, but that's just from being rusty. I think I did a better job with the sets afterwards as soon as I back down. But 110, my first day back on that one, not bad. And I don't know, it takes me back because like and this actually reminds me of, like me helping out Tristan. I remember when I was brand new, like just started going to the gym, I was just sticking to the machines because I was pretty self-conscious about things. Like I didn't want to do things wrong, especially like that free weight area was like forbidden to me. And there just wasn't as much good information out there. So yeah, I remember one of the personal trainers there, his name was Otto. So Otto, if you out there, changed my life, dude. He was like, yo, you want to learn to use free weights? And I was like, absolutely, yes, let's do this. And we didn't have barbells in this gym. It was a weird gym in hindsight. But we started playing with those dumbbells. And that was the first movement. That was the first free weight movement that I had really ever done up until that point. And I got strong with it real quick. So this was like a Super Fitness Express type of center. It was like inside of a mall. So the biggest dumbbells were 82.5s, biggest dumbbells in that gym. And I remember I wanted to hit those as soon as I got decent at the free weights, the 82.5s for at least a set of 7 before I turned 17. And I did that on the incline. And man, that just got me so jazzed. I got in my head that I'm just like a whiz with these dumbbells. And they've always been a staple. And they just take me back to those initial days of discovery when I was first falling in love with everything here. So we're going to try to get decently strong at these. I will definitely keep the reps a little bit higher than I have in past years because I do think using dumbbells in the lower rep ranges, you're kind of misusing it simply because, again, like you don't have as much time to set up and wedge together the way you would on a barbell, and you don't have that eccentric to start. You just kind of bungee jump. Not really, but you shouldn't. And yeah, it's just meant for higher rep ranges for sure. I'd say 6 and above, 6 being the lower end if you are like super good at it. So these were my high bar squats today. Little pausey. Again, it's just my left leg was just bugging me, and it just took me back to those 2 years where like literally for 2 years I had no fun. It's like I'd show up to the gym and I'm like, today's the day things change, and they didn't. But I'm glad I stuck it through, but it taught me a valuable lesson. A big one, of course, being like, yo, do things right, and let's not go through this again. So, I mean, they look good. Pain's weird, but I don't want to risk it. And we're going to go back to that low bar because that one never, ever makes me feel that way. I was excited for these for a number of reasons, but again, we got bigger priorities. And plus I got this thing right here. So remember I did switch up my leg press. We're going to be on mellow yellow over here. And like for a sled leg press, this one's not bad. So it's a hammer strength model. Huge platform. Some of you guys might have this. I personally really like it. I get pretty decent ROM, especially when I kind of stack up the back a little bit. So again, sometimes those pads are being used, but when I can, I will use those. I did not use those last week because they were nowhere to be found. But yeah, I mean, this kind of makes up for the fact, I guess, that I can't high bar squat, or I don't want to chance it, and I want my low bar strength back. Like I think at this point I would have definitely been like flirting with like mid 500s, and for me, like that's pretty darn strong. Squat shoes on this one definitely make it a little bit better. Gives me a little bit more added range of motion. So we're going to have fun with this one. And 4 plates per side. That's all I'm using. So if you do have this model, that's about where I'm at. I do, even though right now I don't have it per se, those are like legs that can squat 500 pounds, and that's literally what I'm using. So, right? Because we know how it is with the leg presses, right? It's I think the reason they have so much space in there, honestly, is only because people are going to complain about it. Most people do not need that many plates. Very few people on this planet. So, short on time today. Not necessarily short on time. I misplaced my food a little bit, and I was dying. So I'm like, you know what? Instead of doing that last set here, we're just gonna drop set and call it even. And that's what we did. So hey, had my boy there helping me out with removing plates, so that I could just sit there and get almost right back to work. You know, you don't want to get right back to it, but you know, kind of like cluster levels of rest times is about good for me. But man, I was tanked. I didn't do as it was good work. It was good work because it was stimulus, and obviously I was fatigued. So we did our job, but I was expecting at least 2 more reps on the drop set. So it'll get pretty grindy here. And honestly, I might have had 1 more, but again, kind of like with Tristan, it's like, hey, yo, leave some room there. And again, the reason is because it's like, hey, we're not here to exercise. We're here to train, and you're not going to get jacked, big, and strong off a single workout. It's going to be about stringing a lot of good training sessions together. So you always have to think that way, especially as you get stronger, because you can literally obliterate yourself to the point where, yeah, like, like into like 2-3 weeks from now. So yeah, so in hindsight, I did good. We did our job on this, and again, I want to continue this hot streak because that's exactly what it has been. So anyhow, hope you guys dig this. We're going to revamp things a little bit. I'm going to move some things around and just make my program a little bit more strength friendly, because it does matter to me. I miss being strong. Like, I'm pretty happy with the levels of jackness, but I miss being strong. I do. Anyhow, that's Bert Nunez checking in with my guys, my family, my 3DMJers. Questions, comments, throw them down there. Again, appreciate you guys sticking it out with me. But yeah, this is what it's like. Week 157 in the year 3003, I think. Holy crap. Appreciate you guys.